Gentlemen, a very warm welcome here from INKISH and our Learn With Us sessions. Robert and David from EFI. I think it's a pleasure to see you guys, actually. I think it's the second time we have EFI on anything that is INKISH related. So we are very happy to see you. Very happy seeing you here.
It's a pleasure to be here as well, Morten. Thank you for the opportunity. And I think looking to a good event.
That's great. And you, Robert, I can't help think about that. I'm actually lucky to have you here for two reasons. One thing is because I really appreciate what EFI do to everybody in the industry. But you had like a fiscal ending, so you could not respond to anything that I sent to you before you ended the year. How did it end? Was it good or bad, or did you succeed with things?
It was very good, actually. So it was very busy. So. Do apologize. The communication wasn't as I wanted it to be, but anyway, we're here today, so that's the important thing.
But you know, you shouldn't be too worried about it, because yesterday Shaki sent me an email saying, so should we meet at 9 or should we just take it as it goes? And I said, why we just take it as it goes? So I think that is how INKISH totally operates. Nevertheless, great to see you guys. Dave, is it Dave or David? I can't remember.
Well, it is David when I'm being professional, and it's Dave in the pub. So whichever you feel that we're in. It's early still, so we could stick to David for a bit.
Okay. David, we haven't talked, but I saw from your LinkedIn profile that you are like in the technical side of EFI, right?
Yes, quite often Robert introduces me as the brains, and it's not just because I've got glasses and look like a character from Thunderbird. It is because I'm on the technical side of stuff. Yes, I do the magic on the screen, and I hate the cameras. So I like to hide away from cameras and look at my screen. Don't look at my face.
Well, but we have the opportunity to do that today, because the idea with this Learn With Us sessions we have today and the next following 2 days is obviously to not just talk about web to print and selling print online, but to see how it actually works. EFI is I take that you're probably the largest software supplier in the printing industry. Is that is not totally wrong to say so, is it?
No, I don't think it is, Morten. I could be mistaken. I'm not sure the portfolio of the other players in the market, but I think we've got somewhere in the region of 40 unique products, and within those products there are probably several hundred, if not over 1,000 different options and modules that you can have. So it can be quite a daunting portfolio, that's for sure.
Yeah. Does that mean that when you go into talk to a PSP and is it basically that you line up, okay, now pick whatever you want, or is it more like I mean, because EFI is essentially able to deliver almost everything that you need from a software perspective: workflow, storefronts, MIS system. I mean, you got a quite comprehensive range in that 40 product offerings, right?
Correct, and we segment into different markets. So, for example, if we're talking to packaging printers, there's a specific suite of products that we talk about. If we're talking to commercial printers, yet another suite of products. So we typically go in understanding what the customer could be interested in, and then really go from there. And certainly, web to print is really something that goes across all printing industries, all printing markets. So that's the focus, of course.
And how difficult is it to get into that conversation? I mean, because I remember I spoke to I think it was Kevin Goldman from Chili Publisher a year ago, before the pandemic. And I said to him, every time there's a new, you have 40 new products every year because it's updated. And I said to him, they have one. And basically I said that with the feature set that you see in software kind of thing, right? The complexity to understand what it does to your business. How do you have like a tool to make sure that you can help customers understanding the wide and the broadness of your offerings?
Yeah, that's me. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Okay, that's you. So that's where we take the brain along, right?
So you've got there is about 10 or 11 of me all around the world, different languages, different product specializations. And that's where we come in and sort of analyze your print business's workflow. And it's not a one size fits all. It's a case of assessing. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes I talk to some colleagues and say, is it this product? Is it this product? And we work together to make that happen. But there's no magic computer algorithm that says pick option, like a Chinese menu, pick option 26, 41, and 18. That's why I've still got a job, everybody. It's a useful thing to be able to look at and analyze this workflow. It's not just a solution.
And Jacques, you work as a consultant in Benelux besides INKISH, and I mean, I take that you often have conversations with printers about their needs and things like that. Is that also in relation to the things that EFI delivers, or is that more on the business side?
Yeah, it's probably, well, what I was more on the business side, strategic and commercial sales side, but also on technical side as well. Not really choosing, but looking at the different solutions there are, and then helping to see what is probably best to implement or in order to get those sales, you know. But it's great. It's very interesting. So it's nowadays as we have it here now. It's so many different solutions that they are in the market, and especially they are developing at an enormous speed, which we heard and we will hear this week. And so I'm very eager to hear what EFI is up to, and I think the portfolio.
But I think, Jacques, there's only one thing that is wrong with EFI, and you know what that is?
What is it?
They're not from Belgium, right?
Oh well, yeah. But I think David persuaded me. This is still got good brains there in the UK as well.
I mean, we're close to Belgium, aren't we?
We both wear our glasses, so we're good.
That's true. So, guys, what can we expect from you today?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about our product that's called MarketDirect StoreFront. It's part of a group of products that come under an umbrella name called MarketDirect. So previously, MarketDirect StoreFront was known as DSF. I still find today that the market generally likes to recall its name from previous years. So, depending on
I mentioned on LinkedIn that it was Digital StoreFront, so I should kill myself, right?
Well, so it's a case of understanding people's how they know the product, if they know the product, and if so, you know, we can either say MarketDirect StoreFront or DSF. But it's true, the product was rebranded a few years ago, and slowly but surely it will become known as MarketDirect StoreFront. Just very briefly, it's a mature product. It's probably been in existence since about 2003. So it's certainly had a lot of development happen over this period.
Oh, so there has been more than one update. That's what you say.
Yeah, yeah, just one or two. And interestingly, over the last year, really the development hasn't stopped at all. The pandemic's hit. It was a very challenging year. I think this year is going to be another challenging year. There's been some interesting successes, but the development of the product has continued unabated. So we've really brought some interesting things to market, and you know, we're continuing to push the product into the future. So it's a stable, mature product with really some interesting new features, modern features that are really going to take the product forward and help our customers be more profitable, really, and bring in new revenue streams.
Before we go into the demo, I had just one question, because with the range of these like up to 40 different types of product, I mean, is that, maybe it's a stupid question, but I mean, do they interact and work together, or is it more like standalone kind of products? Or
you can certainly buy the product standalone, but you heard me say, you know, we typically have these suites. So depending on the type of printing company that you are, if you're a commercial printer, a large format printer, a packaging printer, we will go in with a suite of solutions that could be of interest, and within the suite, they all talk to each other. So whether it's a storefront talking to the MIS or talking to the shop floor, so we spend a lot of time making sure that We've got certified workflows, and the integrations really work. So that's something that's really interesting about the portfolio. That's something that's key to MarketDirect StoreFront as well.
Perfect. So, Jacques, do you have any questions before we see the demo, or what do you think?
No, I'm eager. I'm eager to see it. What you guys have lined up for us?
Yeah. So Jacques and I, we will disappear from screen, but we will be listening to you guys. So don't worry. Right. We will be critical now. We will not. We will ask questions if we have any. And audience, please feel free also to put questions in the chat. This is the opportunity you have when we're live. This is not the opportunity when you are replay. So guys, thank you for your time so far, and I look forward to see that. You have any questions technical in relation to this screen sharing or anything like that, or are you good to go?
We should be all good to go.
All right, but just scream if you need any help, right?
We'll try not to scream too loudly. So yes, that's over to me, and thank you very much for that introduction, really there. And also, if there's questions, don't wait until the end, throw them into the chat as we go. I can't promise I'll pick up on them as we go, but think of them as you get to them, and we'll work with them there. So what you are looking at here, as Rob has kind of said, is a mature product. MarketDirect StoreFront has been around for some years, and our goal with it has really been to allow somebody to get up and running quickly. So we're logged in here to one of our storefronts for my customer here called Manor & Mason. So it's a branded storefront. When I come on this site, I can see products that relate to me as the customer from Manor & Mason, and I can order things that I want to go and look at. So in this case, we'll pick up an order quickly to take it through the process, because quite often in these demonstrations, people forget that you actually do want to place orders and see a checkout, because everybody says, well, we're just processing something. You do a checkout process, of course. Our checkout is not unique by any stretch. It is similar to many others. There's a few nice features with it. And one that our customers do make use of is this time line. So I've ordered my product. I've put a product in my basket, and my system knows that it's only available in 24 hours time. I can't go and have it earlier than this time. I can only have it then. But if I wanted it later in the week, I can order it for later and say that's the time I would like to have it instead. So we can select our delivery time for something. On our checkout function, we do things you expect us to do. We have an address book feature. We have the adding delivery instructions into these things. So just to tell you that we are completely live, I have right now downstairs a delivery happening at my door, and I wish I'd told him to leave it in the porch and not ring my doorbell, but he's not going to get an answer because I'm busy. But you can leave those instructions on things and put things that make some sense. When you're on your payment types, we are a system with lots of options for people. And as my customer, I've got many choices here, so I can demo it. In real life, my choice might all be cost center. You work with a large enterprise, they've got multiple departments, they know which department they're in, they might have to enter a PO number. They might choose to pay by credit card or PayPal, or just enter a PO number. So all of these things go through. So I've placed that order, and it's got an order number we can see here of 1119. And we talked a little bit earlier on about what's called a baseline workflow. You know, how do you interconnect these systems? How do these things all work themselves out? And what we'll see, we've got to give it around about a minute for my workflow to kick in into automation. But what we'll see is this order actually arrive on a Fiery-driven device. So we have in our standard workflow portfolio, it would be not right of EFI to come to something and not mention Fiery. Many printers out there, many of you listening, will have a device driven by a Fiery. With our MarketDirect StoreFront, you can drive files straight onto that Fiery engine and print them. So when we talk about our workflow, a baseline web to print workflow, it's not web to nowhere, it's web to a print engine with no manual touch points in between that at all. Now I run this with my MIS in the middle of it as well, but it doesn't need that. It's one of the adaptable parts to our workflow. But before we come and look at our Fiery, I want to talk about branding of these storefronts. So if we take that URL and just remember those last 3 digits to it there, the 203, and go and look at a different browser here, 203, I've logged into exactly the same URL, but I'm a different customer now. I am no longer Manor and Mason customer, I'm Key Print Production. And while the print shop is the same in the back end, the products that they offer are totally different. Here we're offering a display graphics option. We produce some standard posters, we produce point of sale display stands for people. But we can brand this site really, really easily and really quickly. And customers have got access to, for further development, they've got access to all the HTML that they want to go and make sense of that and draw their own design. And it's just a little mock-up of something to give us an idea of what kind of things we can do. But let's go on to our Fiery device over here and find the right Fiery. So there we have our DSF brochures. So we know we're in a different time zone, but we know around a minute ago, 17 minutes past the hour, it was that job. We also know it was that job because when we go and run our standard processes, so things that we're going to do on our command workstation anyway, load our paper in our trays, press print, let it go and run its way through, we get information back to our storefront. So we are bi-directional as standard with our communication with our customer. So that was our order number there. It's in a status of user approved. And when that job moves through our factory, automatically it updates our online portal to tell our customer what is happening with that job. So I have done nothing here. There's no trickery. Morton's very clear with me before we started. No preset videos, no pre-done things. This is all live. I printed the job, you saw it print, it updated the storefront with information in live time about what's happened. I always say to printers, don't go crazy telling people everything you do all of the time. Give them a few statuses. It's accepted, it's in production, it's shipped, it's invoiced. Don't do too many things with that as you do. The customer can see all of those things. They can also look at their history of their orders. So that was that last order we did. It's in production. They can see orders that have been shipped. They can even see invoices on their system as well. So if we look at this order that's been invoiced as well, I've got a tracking link that takes me out to a carrier site. So I can click on that and get a tracking parcel information about where my things are at. And I can also look at my invoice that's been raised by the system as well. So all of that side of stuff is just standard things that we do. And it probably comes about because this is a mature system and these are things that people have said to us over the years that they want to be able to do. We'd like to introduce some other features of the MarketDirect storefront platform and other things that you can do within it that maybe aren't known about and aren't so widely popular. But many printers have diversified recently to stay in business and to stay competitive. And one of the things that we have introduced is a fulfillment workflow within the system. So I'm on a slightly different site here. I've got various different categories of things, and within one of these categories, I've got items. And I can see how many are available in stock for me, how many things that I can go and order. So let's go and place ourselves an order. You see this top item, I'm limiting it to ordering certain quantities. This next item, I'm going to order something, and we'll have some of those as well. So I can add all of these really quickly, all in one go, and move them through the checkout process again, exactly as we did on the other site. Slightly different payment options available for me here, but the key part to it is getting an order in. Now, much like with our web to print platform, web to fulfillment also needs to be useful for the back end. There's no point in just sending an email to somebody saying, we've ordered these 3 items. We need to be able to manage it in our back end as well. And that's what we've got. If I log into the back end and just refresh it, we should see that order pop in, just so we're clear on it. 771 is the order number from the customer, and that's what we get on this side of it as well. So we can manage this order. I've got 3 individual lines. We can manage this order and release those lines ready for being picked and packed in our warehouse. Now, this next bit of the screen is still a bit of an old way to do stuff. We, as software people, say you should use the screen. Go around your factory on your iPad, on your device. Go and manage this, pick it, pack it, deal with it in real life on a screen. And operators in warehouses say, but I want my paper. I used to have a bit of paper. Give me a sheet. And so we can do that within the system. We can output a sheet of paper for them to go and follow around with what they're working on. So they can use a sheet of paper and process it on that as they're going. This item is marked now as ready for picking, and our operator can log into his picking view. He can see his order up here of 771. It's got a pick ID that it has been given. And when he sees his details, we can manage his walking sequence around the plant. So we're telling him in his warehouse, this is where you should go. Here's where you should pick these things up. We can do individual pick items. So just pick it from his screen, or we can do a bulk action to pick the whole order. So all of those things work. You could also even print out labels that you're sticking on the side of things as you're going, but all of that will then get updated within it. So idea of this platform is for printers who are moving out, as well as offering web to print, offering partial fulfillment services. We're able to help them with that. We're also able to update these orders as we go. So we can mark this as a shipped product as well. We talk about a baseline workflow, order something online, go and produce it, do what you need to do to it, and then ship it out of the door. Our shipping is all integrated, so we can integrate to carriers that people are using. And you can see here the quantities that have been put into a box. We can add boxes, we can put tracking numbers into it, and mark it all as shipped back to the customer. So the customer can see information, our status updates here. Back over here on our customer login side, if I just refresh that browser page for us, we'll see definitely live because I'll be out for a second. We can see it's updated as shipped, and that tracking number that I entered is visible, and that will link into my carrier and show us that side of it as well. So it's another string to what you can do with your online storefront. It's also important to know what standard things we can do within our storefront. So we can cater for designers who are uploading PDF files and maybe want to pick some print options, like I'd like to add lamination, I'm in wide format, I want to add grommets that I'm putting around the edge of my banner. We can also do design online products. So we can design products as we go online. Customers can pick a pre-selected design. This can all be branded for people as well. And it's a what you see is what you get designer. We call it Smart Canvas. It's embedded within our technology platform. So customers can pick from drop-downs that we might have. So we maybe want some tulips on our background, on our birthday card inside it. It must be Morten's birthday sometime in the next 364 days. So we can enter details, and it's live time. As soon as you type it, it appears over here. We know what it's going to look like because it's all visible and all clear for us. So our Smartbox, our Smart Canvas designer tool is there for what you see is what you get. Customers can add their own images, their own text. They can draw shapes. They've got some color control. But you as the printer can give them brand guidelines. So some things can't be touched. I can't pick up this happy birthday. It's fixed in place. Whatever I try, that's locked in on my design. So you can put brand guidelines behind these things, and get that working. I slipped in my presentation because I'm getting excited about the last thing we want to show you that's part of our MarketDirect the online storefront platform, and that is something called Smartbox Designer. So here we can actually take 3D shapes in that same kind of way of looking at your what you see is what you get design. We can do that in 3D as well. So here we can choose some options on our product, including customizing the size that our box, we've got our style of our box, but we can customize the size that that box is going to be as it goes. And what it will do for us is draw this in 3D for us. So we can imagine exactly how this is going to look, because it will demonstrate this for us. So we can see it's drawn our box. If I were to change the dimensions over on here, it will also draw that out for us and resize that box to suit a size and shape I want. I can spin it around however I want to. I can also apply graphics to it. So in exactly the way you might expect, you'll find some things on your site. We'll put an ID onto it. And I can drag and drop that onto my page here, resize it, and see how that's going to look on my box. I can go back to my box design and see that on there. So as I'm designing something, it's taken the smart designer elements and moved it on to that next stage for people, to that 3D idea of stuff, because we're also able to do that within the product. And it's all one place where these things happen. Everything works within that one platform, and it's all capable of doing a whole load of things there. So I've almost stuck to almost exactly what I said I would do, which is talk for about 20 minutes while showing some of the features that we have got. So I will kill the screen share side to it for Rob and I to keep on talking a little bit more about the product. So some things that are very hard to demonstrate include variable data processing. So you might be doing a single item like a greetings card from Morton for his birthday, but it's a good touch that was, wasn't it? What you could
June 19th.
June 19th. That's for anyone watching. June 19th. Then what you can actually go on from that to do is say, look, I've got a whole mailing database for a whole load of people. Let's upload that spreadsheet and go and do 500 in one go, 1,000, 50,000. There's no limit to that. So it's quite a scalable platform that you can go and work on after that point as well.
I am speechless because, I mean, first of all, you were just like poof, shooting off like you have not done anything else in your life ever. And I would not be surprised if you were American with that kind of no, sorry, I'm just kidding. We got at least I have other things, but the shops is asking here integration to third-party OEM controllers available or only to Fiery controllers for the feedback that you showed.
Okay, so the answer is yes, third party is fine, but it's unidirectional. So we can send data down to them. We don't get the feedback coming back the other way then. So we can send stuff down there. That's no problem.
Is that because there's not like a? I mean, if you look at IoT, and if you look at zip data, and if you look at all these kind of things, that is so is it more down to the fact that they don't deliver back to what you need, or is it a business decision?
So it's another fun thing. It depends what you have in the EFI recipe when you're back at your Chinese restaurant. If you put an MIS in the middle of it, you have got a much better chance of getting that back because your MIS is way more capable of receiving data back in. I'm trying to focus on people who are just looking at a baseline workflow, order online, want to get it printed and get it out to customers. In the case of just having the StoreFront product, there's not the ability to pick up zip3 the same way. With an MIS, that would have a much better chance of success. We do have people using it with other controllers.
And I mean, you have during the presentation you mentioned a couple of times or numerous times about the maturity of I still call it the storefront. Sorry, I can't even remember the new name. but I was just, I mean, because I have not seen it before. I've seen it at demos when been at trade shows, but you've never seen like a end-to-end kind of thing. And I really feel and sense the maturity of the software, the integration points you have to everything from shipping to, I mean, everything. Does that come at a price point? I mean, is this a product that only is for the deeper pockets, or how is that? Where in the market does it fit?
No, not at all, Morten. It's certainly there are additional modules that you can add to the core functionality that comes with the product, but the core features is very rich. So there is often it supplies the needs of the majority of printers. You mentioned that I guess you've seen it in the past, and it just is a mark of how much development is going into the product. So if you saw the product years ago, it certainly looked one way, and today, you know, we continue to refresh the product not only on the front end but on the back end as well, improving the workflow. So in that short 20 minutes that David had, it was only really very superficial. There is so much more to it.
Of course.
The screens are really have been completely transformed. So you might you might not recognize it from what it was just a few years ago. I just wanted to build on something else as well. Whilst the communication to non-EFI RIPs might be just one direction, we do have tools with the product. So you can buy the full API. We have also an external systems connector, so that would be for one-way traffic, and the API is bi-directional information from the storefront to anything you really want to connect it to. So if you had other clever people, if printers have other clever people like David with developer skills, they could really actually connect it to anything.
And that leads to the question from Neil Bridgeland.
I was going to say, you've been reading the questions in the chat, haven't you, Rob? Because that's a perfect introduction.
Neil is asking, what technical level does a company need to set up and maintain the system?
So the answer to that one is a little bit as Rob has alluded. You can do I am not a developer, so I might look clever, but I'm not a developer. And you
you have people with even larger glasses in the basement. That's what you're saying. Okay,
huge glasses. And you can set up this system with no knowledge of anything other than reasonably good computer skills. So the storefront is designed so that you don't need specialist HTML or CSS style sheet knowledge. You can just set it up and get it working. If you want to brand it, so I branded that site. I'm not a developer, but I'm capable of going into a style sheet and looking for a color, finding a logo, sticking the colors and the logos into the right places, and interrogating it. That's kind of midway between a full-on web developer and somebody who's good with computers. But you certainly don't need those skills. You can get a site running just with branding, with nothing more than the ability to find the file.
I couldn't help thinking about when I saw the presentation also that, I mean, it really shows the strength also of EFI having all these components in the workflow. I mean, one thing is that when we look at a storefront, I mean, you know, to be honest, a lot of the storefronts from a user perspective looks quite similar, right? But where you really pushes the boundaries is probably that you get into integration directly, not just to the workflow elements, but directly to the RIPs and directly to the MIS and directly to the components that you own, basically, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The other one which David showed, which I think is incredibly interesting, is the integration with courier companies, with shipping companies. So you're offering the full end-to-end experience. It's not just I've received a job and I've printed it, but I've received a job and I've shipped it out the door, which is kind of we've all become so spoiled potentially because of Amazon. I mean, Amazon, the experience on their platform is easy to understand. It's very, you get the information that you need. You get information when a parcel's being delivered, and it's that the users become accustomed to. So you can get that with our platform too, which is a nice little cherry on the cake.
Yeah, but you were talking about like the suites that you package it in suites products, as you just showcased, like the 3D folding carton suite. Is that something apart? Because I know a lot of PSPs who do commercial work are looking into or investing also like in packaging in one way or another. So I thought this was especially impressive that you could really see the box coming to life and that you see what it is, and even then put the picture on or the image on that you want to have printed. Is that something which is a module or is it something that's already pre-packed in a suite, or is it just for packaging printers?
So it can be any of those things. So if you are having the packaging workflow, it's just part of the standard thing. But if you are a commercial printer who is doing a bit of packaging, you don't need the full packaging stuff. You just want to bolt it on, and you can do that as well. Okay. So it's kind of, you can kind of get the best of both worlds depending on where your starting point is for it.
Right. We have a few more questions. Shocks is asking, and I think it refers to you, Robert, when you said about the rebranding in the beginning and DSF and MarketDirect.
Yes, correct. What was the question? I'm just
the
question is
why did we change the name of it? Why did we change the name when everyone knew it as DSF?
I'll just go for lunch. David, take over from you. That's great. See you guys. Bye. Just kidding. So why did you change name on this one, Robert?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to refer that to someone more clever than me. I don't know if you know, David.
I think it's to unify a load of disparate brands. So you would, everybody on here knows that EFI have a history of acquiring businesses that they like the look of and bringing them into the fold. You might have heard of that.
Never heard about that. But that's great information. Thank you very much.
New information for only on INKISH TV. New information. EFI.
Yeah, and you know that you're a public company. You have to watch out what you're saying here, right? So in part of doing that, we kind of recognized a lot of brands that needed to come together under one platform that were similar things. They each had their unique identity, and it was a way to unify them together. So to say, look, if you are in an online space, MarketDirect is your place. It's a direct route to your market, whether that market is in packaging or in printing or in fulfillment or in shipping. It's a route into the market, and cross-media comes into it as well. So even before you get to any of these print products, we have a cross-media marketing platform that also falls under that banner.
Yeah. Maybe
Robert
just
Godwin.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe just one more question for David, because you see a lot of competitors as well and solutions providers looking into APIs and stuff, and also developing special APIs to connect with certain solutions. Is it MIS or other stuff? Is that something that EFI is going to pursue more than it's doing now? Because it seems to be a trend going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, so certainly in the suites, in the MIS side of it, that is what we do. So we make workflows with other vendors so that people can have integrations with pre-press vendors or with carriers and things. On the storefront side, it's a difficult one, and I've seen Tim has asked a similar question in the chat as well. My good friend Tim from VPress has asked me a good question about integrating with these things, because yes, we would love to integrate with everything out there. There's so many things, you don't know where to start. We have enough of a job integrating with all of our suites and making sure they're robust. If we also turned our market to every country, every platform that we're going into, every language, we would struggle to make it all work. Why we opened up an API to say, actually, you can do this.
But David, I think that one of the reasons why this is maybe a very important question anyway is, I mean, I think a lot of people understand that, you know, I remember, I don't know if it's still like this, but I just remember when you had the first versions of Prenect, for example, right? Then it was like, if it was integrated into Heidelberg software, the customers could do a shitload of things. And if it was trying to use anything else, so it didn't from the outside, didn't look as much as an obstacle rather than being a technical challenge. And I'm just saying that, you know, from a business perspective, when you become a market leader, I think that to some extent, some people might, okay, we want to work with the best in class. And that sometimes also lead to having open interfaces towards other solution providers, right? And I think that, if to be honest, I think that you guys, you are more open than some other companies that are way more closed. And as you said, the API is an important thing. And to the people that are listening to this actually requires skill set from people probably working within your organization to make sure that you can utilize the APIs fully, right?
Yeah. So with the API, you can do a lot of things, but it's very open. And as probably as you say, we have done that with all of our APIs. If you're a printer and you've got the skills to do these things, we don't want to hold you back. We don't want to say, well, you can do some things but not others. We want the API to be open.
Yeah. So you can deliver anything if people can program it themselves. Yeah. But if they want it out of the box, you of course have to make business decisions and resource planning in aligned with what you want to offer, basically. Robert Godwin, he is presenting from Chile in a couple of hours. He's asking, what post-installation support services does EFI offer? Can I maybe ask a question before you answer that one? The way that people buy your stuff, do you work with? Is it like directly from EFI, or do you have distributors, or is it? I mean, how do you sell? Because that I mean, I was just thinking, if you have like a distribution network, I would take that the post installation support would be from their side, right? Or how does that work?
So it depends in which region of the world you're in, but effectively we've got two routes to market. We've got directly, so you can come to EFI directly, you can choose to buy our products, and we will support you directly. We also work very closely with many of our partners. So some of the more well-known ones, Ricoh, Xerox, Canon, those types of companies also resell our web-to-print solutions. And so if you had a particular relationship with one of those, you could certainly approach those and get support from those after it's been implemented. And ultimately, those companies come to EFI for higher levels of support.
Of course. I mean, you are, after all, the programmers of the solutions, right? So that would make sense, right?
Yeah. And we do have customers who come to us years after they purchased the software initially and said, look, I need to make a big change to it. Can you help us through it? And we can do that as well.
If you look at it from an EFI perspective, I mean, being a global supplier of software, some of the other suppliers in the market that might have different approaches to how to sell print online, is that something that challenges you at all, or are you on a whole different level in your opinion? I mean, when you for example in the market for selling a web-to-print solution, I mean, is it competition typically other companies in the same league as you are, or is it competition from everywhere?
There's competition everywhere, that's for sure. I wouldn't say that we've got particular segments of the market that no one else can serve, but we're constantly looking to add new features, add new revenue streams for our customers. Much of it we've covered today. So last year we introduced the packaging side, which is we had a brief glimpse of that, and I'm not sure if we're unique in that, but we certainly are perhaps one of the more prominent companies in that space. So if you were a packaging company looking to sell folding cartons or boxes of any description online, then we would certainly be one of the leading contenders there. And yeah, you know, there's many good companies. A lot of them are going to be presenting this week, as you know, Morten, and you know, depending on which region, there are different players. So
thinking a little bit about your overall here, learn with us. What I often hear from people is, I've seen 5 systems and I want that bit, that bit, that bit, and that bit. There is still no one system that I have found for every printer. Each printer finds the benefits of some systems above others, and that's where we are in that. It's a mature market. People have been using web to print for 20 years, give or take, in one way.
But I think there's a reason for that. Some printing companies, they are way more interested in finding something that is unique to them rather than selling print, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows?
Maybe, yes.
Yeah. I think it's been awesome to hear what you see, and I think, you know, I can't help think about this when we got the idea for doing this this week here, these 3 days. It has already with the first 4 sessions shown that there's a diversity of solutions in the market with different approaches. And I think this is the essence of what we wanted to achieve basically for people, because you know, guys, that when I go to Printing United or to Drupa or to other trade shows and I see all the small booths with the EFI where you have the demonstrations of all the different software, sometimes it's a bit difficult to get a spot actually. So this I think was we were trying to take virtual kind of things to another level. I know it's the basic, but maybe it's a foundation for digging in more to software, both with the Q&As and the excellent demonstration from you, David, and the good answers from you, Robert. So I want to thank you very much, both of you, for participating in this Learn with us. I hope you enjoyed it.
It's been great, and thank you very much, Morten and Jax, for the opportunity. We think it's going to be a great week. And good luck with everything else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and to the audience, I mean, if there's any more questions, we still have a little chance to ask if it's possible. Otherwise, we will close the session. And in 11 minutes, the next session will start. And this time it's with the Cloud Printer, which is not like a real, like a web to print solution, but a facilitator. Do you work with the Cloud Printer, guys?
I haven't, no.
No, because they are like, I think they're kind of site flow where they facilitate kind of, if you buy in the Netherlands and you need to print in the US, you can use their service to do that. And I know that they are using InFocus technology, and I thought maybe they're using EFI technology as well. Who knows, right?
We'll find out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Martin is now living in Ukraine because that's where his developers are, and his CTO is from Denmark. His name is Mogens. It's a completely impossible name for British people to pronounce, but his name is Mogens. So everybody, I hope that you will join us for the next session here with Martin and Mogens. And if you guys want to hang on and do it, please feel free to be there, or watch the replays, as everybody else is also very much welcome to. So again, thank you very much. It's time to close the session. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Morten.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.